Hi, it's Lindy here from Meadows, Pilates and Physical Therapy with another tip for you. This is tip number 4 in our series, if you're keeping track. And today we're going to look at an exercise called the bridge. Bridging is done in Pilates movement exercise in a number of different ways. The way we're going to look at it today is with the purpose of moving through each joint or each segment of the spine. So here we have the spine in its natural curve, which we looked at also last time when we were doing pelvic movement. And what we discovered is in moving the pelvis, there's actually some natural movement of the spine itself. So notice that when I tilt the pelvis backwards toward the body, there's a little bit of flattening, if you will, of the lower back. We're going to use this movement to start to elevate the pelvis through space as we move through each segment of the spine up to about the shoulder blades. It might be a little bit lower than that for you. And then we're going to lower each vertebra from the top. So if you imagine a weight where my hand is, pressing down into each vertebra as we roll back down into the starting position. This is the movement of the spine in the exercise that we call the bridge. So here we have taken the two big halves, the big, what we might call hip bones, off the pelvis, and we're just left with the sacrum bone, which, as we discussed in tip number 3, is actually a little curved bone, a little bit like a ball that's been cut in half. So if we attach this curved bone to a spine, as the bone curves and keeps curving, it's going to pull the rest of the spine with it as it rolls up. And then as the top of the spine rolls back down, the sacrum is going to be brought back down to its starting position in this relatively neutral position. So we're going to use the image of this little bowl being the sacrum, and as it tilts, it lifts and brings the spine with it, and then as the spine comes back down from the top, it brings the bowl back and returns the spine to its natural position. So to initiate the bridge, it starts with the same pelvic motion that we looked at in tip number 3. So it starts with this little tilt toward the head as if the tailbone was sliding up toward the ceiling. And then that continuation just brings you up one vertebra at a time as you lengthen the knees out toward the bottom of the mat. To come down, the movement starts at the top of the spine. You could even think of it coming from the base of the skull, if you like, to roll down one vertebra at a time, and finally allowing the pelvis to roll back out into its natural position. A couple of things to look out for with this exercise are to make sure that you're really moving segment by segment through each vertebra. If you skip over some, it might look like this. The goal of this exercise is not to lift the bum as high as you can into the air. It's actually to move through as many vertebrae as possible so that the rib cage stays relatively softened and the chest bone stays softening down. Notice also whether you develop a lot of neck, shoulder, and jaw tension in this exercise. If you do, it might look like this. If that's happening, place a small towel under your head and support the head in a little bit more easy position for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.